Good morning. Happy Monday. Today is May 18th, 2020, and I'm just getting started early. It's 8:13. So I have asked you all to get your materials together in my last video. Hopefully you've done so. If not, still have time. Do it at your own pace. But I want to go ahead and keep my word and get us started on our first video about money management. And I know that we're still in quarantine in most places, so I hope everybody's doing wonderful with that. I know let me see, was it month 3? I think we're on month 3 now. And it's getting pretty interesting. Actually, I'm getting better with it now that I'm doing my whole breathing thing. If you saw that video, if not, go check it out. My counselor friend changed my whole life. She changed my whole life. And if you watched it and you decided to at least try, I know it seems so simple. Don't let that bother you, because I promise you it almost bothered me. Like, that's just too simple. It can't be that simple. It is. It can be. As I'm saying, it can be. So I'm going to use this board in the place of your planner or your tablet or whatever you decide to use to write on. Is my camera blurry? Okay, I think we can see that. Now, the only thing about this is, of course, it's going to be backward. I don't know how to change that, so you got to work with me on that one. And today, this would be my favorite pen that I love, because I'm writing on here. And hope you have your bills and any documents that you need to know what you have to pay on a monthly basis or whatever the basis is. I have 2 of my planners still here. My main planner is this one though. So I'm sorry, this one, my black one. And I have my bills as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with this month. I thought about doing June, but then I was like, we got, what, 2 more weeks? 2.5 more weeks? We can get some stuff done this month. At least get our practice session in, and then in June, boom, we're good. You at least do a blueprint for May. And then when June comes, all you have to do is duplicate that. The parts that you love and whatever you don't love, do what you gotta do. So we got our bills. On your bills, the first thing I want you to do is, put this down, is circle the account number and the due date and the amount that's due. Now, if you have an overdue amount, circle that too, because you need to know what's going on this bill. The account number, I say circle it because certain bills I like to write in my planner. The account number, phone number, so I can have easy access to it if I need to call them right quick or have a question about my bill. It's in my planner. And if I really call them a lot, I put it in my phone. That way all I gotta do is find the company name, call them, and that's it. But if it's just somebody I just want to have reference to, I put it in my planner. Most of my people who I pay on a monthly basis, they're going to be in my planner anyway, at least one time. I don't write that down every month, but I write it down at some point so that if I want to go back and reference the account number or call them, I'll have it written down, because too many times I've had to call a bill person and I can't find the bill. Thankfully now we have Google, so that works out too. But for me, budgeting my money also means budgeting my time. So while I'm doing it, I go ahead and write it down, because I don't want to spend time later looking for a bill that I have in my hand now. You know what I mean? Or looking for a phone number that I have in my hand now. I just like to save time as well. And you'll realize too, maybe some of you may realize that as you begin to be more conscious of your money, you become more conscious of your time and figuring out how you can save time for yourself, so you have things to do to do the things that you love. So circle account number, bill date, bill due date, and if there's a past due amount, circle that too, and the amount that's due, the billing date. All right, so once you do that, you're going to transfer that information to your planner or calendar. How I usually do mine, and I'll show you an example of my current real life planner. Over here, over here, you'll see that I have, where's my camera? Where's my camera? You'll see I have all of my bills lined up there. And as I pay them, I check them off. So the only thing you see that has not been paid is my gas bill so far. And I also, sometimes I'll put the amount over there too. Just because I like to know certain things, especially if it's different. I'll put different for that month. I'll put the amount there. Okay, so you can do that, and then you're going to transfer from your circles to your planner. Now, for your phone bill and account number, usually you'll have some blank spaces in your planner, like I do here, or you'll have this section here to keep notes. So what I would say to you is, utilize both or one or the other. I do both. So I'll put my stuff here, and then the next step for you, I was going to say, as far as the reason why you're circling that due date is because you're going to need to transfer that to your calendar. So for example, my electric bill is due on the 7th, and I put electric here so that I'll know that that's what that's for. Electric, and I usually put the amount there as well. So you're going to put the name of the whatever the bill is that you call it, and you're going to put the amount, okay? Now, because that's going to keep you focused on what you got to do that week. You want to be able to see it. People like to hold bills in their head, and that works for a little while, but let something happen out of the blue, and then you forgot what you got to do, and then the 7th comes around, and the 8th and the 9th, and you don't know why your lights getting cut off. That's happened to me before I started writing this down in this way. I would get home from work, I have the money in my account, but my lights are off. I'm like, why are my lights off? I ain't paying my... Then I got to go find the bill, look at the due date, see how much is due, give them a call, pay for a reconnection fee. No. That's another thing, like this helps you not have to be paying past due fees, reconnection fees, late fees, all the fees that come along with when you don't pay your bill on time. So now you can see it in your planner, and you know that for that week you got those things to do. You'll see I have rent on here somewhere. It's due by the 5th. Now you may be wondering, what are these circles? So after you've transferred all of your stuff from your bills to your planner, account number, phone number, what's the amount that's due, what's the past due amount if you have one, and when is it due, and into your planner or your calendar, what you want to do next is circle your paydays. Circle your paydays. So if you look on my calendar here, I have circles everywhere. Because I know on those days, some money coming from somewhere. Okay? So we have, and why is that important that you circle your paydays and you can see your paydays and your billing? Because I know that on the 5th is rent, right? I have rent due on the 5th. I also know that I got paid on the 5th. Now, I can't tell you at this moment what the amount was, because usually I would put the amount on here. But because I knew I was going to be showing this on this camera today, I did not put the amount on there in all of the spaces there. But put the amount of your paycheck where you circle, because that's going to become important, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So you got your circles for your payday, any kind of payday. Payday could be that you worked and got paid. It could be your child support. It could be Social Security. Whatever payday means, you have money coming in. So anytime that I say payday, I'm speaking strictly of you got some money coming in from wherever it's coming from. you want to circle and on a consistent basis, or at least for that month. It doesn't have to be every month, but for May, if you know you got a check coming in, for example, a stimulus check, right? That's a one-time thing, maybe two if you get lucky. You can circle that day that you know that you got that money on that day because that was a payday for you. And you need to calculate that into your income for that month so that you know how much money you have coming in and coming out. All right, so we have our payday circle and the amount. If you have a steady amount, put it there. But if you don't, you can estimate it. You kind of know, guesstimate what it is. Or you can wait until that payday and just write it in there. You got your bills written down with the account numbers and the phone numbers and the amounts and all that good jazz. Now what you want to do, you want to put this down and get that piece of paper I told you about. So the piece of paper I told you about that I didn't, I can use this. What you want to do now is you want to add up. We're going to do this two different ways. I want you to add up. Now that you got all your bills on your planner, you can put your bills to the side. You don't even need that anymore. Now that you got everything in here, I want you to take every bill that you've written down with the amounts on there, get those amounts, get you a calculator, and add all those bills up. Whatever your paydays are, I want you to add all those amounts up. Because now you know you can compare, I have this amount of money coming in and I have this amount of money going out. And I'm hoping that the amount you have coming in is more than the amount that you have going out. A lot of times people don't want to do this step because they're afraid that the payday is going to be less than the bill. Don't worry about that. This gives you perspective on where you are in your life, where you are financially, so that you can know what needs to happen. So if you have less money coming in than you have going out, well, now you know. Now you know that this is why you $100 short, right? Now, I forgot one thing, that 7-day writing your spending down exercise that I gave you. Here's why that's important. I hope that you did it, because here's why it's important. Because if you happen to be $100 short, right? Watching yourself spend money for 7 days, you can see where you have money to you have money to play with. For example, if you know that you at Chick-fil-A the whole 7 days, twice a day, and you were at somewhere else another time 4 or 5 times those 7-day period, you know you can kind of tell what you can cut out, right? Shopping, going to Chick-fil-A to eat twice a day, to each his own. But if you are $100 short when you add up your bills and your payday, then you've just found yourself $100 because that's where you're going to get it from. If you're getting your nails done every week, every 2 weeks, and your hair and your toes, and you know you got this whole routine going on, but you're $200 short every month, when you add this up, then that may be where you need to go and see where you can trim some of that off of your billing portion of your budget there. So that's why I had you guys to do that. And I forgot to come back around and see who did it and see how it went. Comment below so that I know how that went for you, because what that does is, some people ask me why I gotta write it down, and I can just look at my bank statement, because I asked you to do that too. But the difference between printing your statement and highlighting, that's a good exercise because you get to see what you've done. But now you get to see what you're doing, and you get to see it in the moment. I didn't want you to print off May per se and highlight it. I wanted you to, these 7 days, I wanted you to write them down, because you're like, by the time you do that a few times, you start becoming more conscious as the days go on, like, well, I may not need those chips. I may not need that Chick-fil-A. I may not need whatever this random, spontaneous item that you all of a sudden think that you need. As days go on, you start saving money automatically, because you know that's the mindset that you're trying to get into in the first place. So that's the 7-day thing. Hope you guys did. If not, try it out because it really will help. It helped me, I would say, be more conscious of my spending and what am I actually doing with my money, because it's easy to swipe a card for $2 here and $1 there and $3 there and $5 there. That ain't nothing, right? Until you look at it and them $5 and $2 and $1 over a month's time ends up being $200, and you just so happen to be $200 short when you add your stuff up. So you just found your $200. So that's why that's the whole reasoning behind me having you do that. So if you did not do it, please do so. If you did do it, kudos to you. Let us know how it went for you, or did you get any revelations in doing that? Okay, got that done. So once you have your you added up your bills, you added up your paydays, and now you get a perspective of what you have going on. Like, do I have enough money to pay these bills? So say, for example, you do have enough money to pay these bills, but now it leaves you with $50 for groceries, or $50 for groceries and gas, or $50 for groceries, gas, and lunch. You know what I mean? Like, all you got left is $50. Now, you're in a better boat than being negative, but now you still got to figure out where can I find more money so that I can live this life. So same thing, if you were going to Chick-fil-A twice every day, you're going by there for breakfast and you're going by there when you go home. Boom. I know you're spending a little bit less, well, it depends on what you're buying, but I'm going to say at least $10 to $20 you're spending there if you're doing that, right? So that's $20 a day. That's about it. It's $100 already. Over a month's time, that's $400. You see where I'm going with this? That's if I'm doing the whole 20, sorry. $20 a day. If you're eating out $20 a day, over a week's time, it's $100 if you're doing it 5 days a week, work days, right? And then over a 4-week period, that's $400. So this is how I mean about you just finding money that you have already, but you're spending it in ways that don't make sense for what the kind of money that you make. So that's why I did that with you guys. So we got your payday, you got your deductions, you got buy. So the next thing I want you to do is, the reason we're going to do that is because you want to just gain perspective, okay? So then we have our paydays, we got that. When you do your calendar and your planner and you write all of your bills down, I like to check things off. So I write all of my bills down like you saw on the side, and as I pay them, I check them off. One, I don't have to remember that. I don't have to use my brain space to I pay my light bill. I can just go look. And most of the time when I check it off, it helps me to remember anyway. So that gives me that clarity, and that I don't have to be like, well, and then when I don't, if you don't check it off or write it down in the way that I'm telling you to do, you're going to end up having to call or go on your account online and check it out so you can see, well, did I pay it? Because I don't remember. Saving time. Go ahead and get that little check mark so that later on in the month that you're thinking about, whatever you're thinking about, you don't have to worry about calling or going online and check it. It's to make sure. You got your check mark there, you know if you checked it off, it's paid. Good. Okay, so we got those things done. Now, the next thing I want you to do is, here's the interesting part, because this whole thing is about changing your mindset about how you spend money. So when you have your calendar, here's why this is helpful. So many times, there was a time in my life, I should say, where my rent was always due right before I got paid. Like the 5th always ended up being something that was inconvenient for me. I got paid bi-monthly, so I want to say it was the 1st and it could have been the 1st and 15th, because that wouldn't have made any sense. Whatever was going on, this rent thing was a mess for me for a minute. I don't remember why, but I never had enough money to pay my rent. So I was having to, either I probably wasn't making enough, was something to me. I was having to save money from a previous check to put with this check so that I can pay rent. It was a mess. And I kept trying to figure out, well, what's going on here? But once I started writing it down, then I could see clearly, very clearly what I have to do that pay period. Because what you want to do is when you circle, you see all these circles everywhere, Then you can look at it and say, well, I see rent, I see electric, I see sale, I see car insurance, I see another sale. So I know that in these 2 weeks here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 bills to pay. And I know that whatever this income is needs to cover it. So I need to be very mindful that my biggest bills come out of my check at the beginning of the month. Usually most people pay rent. Some people pay their car note. Those are usually your 2 biggest bills that come out. A mortgage. Usually those are the 2 biggest bills. So if you know that your rent comes out at the beginning of the month and your car payment and your car insurance like mine does, I already know that first check I'm not doing too much, right? Not doing too much. I'm just gonna, make sure I have enough groceries. This is when I definitely know I gotta go grocery shopping. There's no eating out these 2 weeks. I'm going grocery shopping to make sure that I have food in the house because this is when I pay the bulk. The most of my income goes out at the beginning of the month. Now the next paycheck I'm going to get on the 21st. Well, actually that's my husband's check, but it's our check. The 21st, I know I got some other bills coming out that 2 weeks. So this is another thing that's good about the calendar. Before I started writing things down, I was paying. For example, down here you'll see gas. Let me see if I can find it right quick. You'll see gas down here, right? And so, for example, I would pay this gas bill because maybe it was $30, right? I'm like, yeah, I can pay that. But I'm paying it out of my check that I would have paid my rent out of. There's no need for me to pay a $30 gas bill, although it's just $30. In the wrong check when I already know that's a check that I'm already gonna be looking crazy on, right? So you don't want to be paying bills out of whack. So I got a gas bill on the 20th, but I get paid on the 21st. So they give you a grace period, so you're good there. I can just get that gas bill paid on the 21st and that'll be fine. But I don't want to pay this gas bill out of my check on the 7th because I know that's my rent check. Or my check on the 5th, that's my rent check. That's my car payment check. That's my car insurance check. That's my cell phone bill check. You don't want to be adding more onto the check that you already are paying a lot of stuff out on, unless you just have it like that, and that's cool. You kind of person that you get your one check and you can pay off all your bills and your next check is just yours to save. Great. And speaking of savings, what amount did you guys choose that you can save every month consistently? Maybe that number is going to change once you do your adding, and if it does, that's fine. Just make sure you put something there. The money you spending on chips and Chick-fil-A and McDonald's and a soda here and a donut there and a cookie there and a piece of cake, and let me give my nephew $5, or let me give my mama $20, or somebody come up to you when they want to borrow. All of that, if you in that world, all of that adds up over the course of time. So don't tell me you can't save if you let so-and-so borrow $20. Don't tell me you can't save if you at the hair salon every month. Don't tell me you can't save if you are eating out 3 or 4 times a week or a month. And saving does not have to be this big number. I save $50 for my son and have saved $50 for my son for the past probably 5 years. Now, have I gone over there to borrow money from him because I needed it at certain times? Sure I have. Have I paid it back? Yes, I have. But I'd rather do that than have to go and get a credit card or loan interest with interest rates, or call somebody and put them in a bind and be like, can I borrow? I'd rather borrow money from our account than trying to borrow money from somewhere else. I just have to be consistent and pay it. And then I always pay it back because that's just my baby. I got to make sure he good. But now I have my own savings account. And I've always had a savings account, but because I wanted him to have his, I kind of let mine go for a while. But now I can borrow money for myself. But it's all good. Hey, I put the money in there so I can take it out, right? But anyway, don't be like me. Don't be like me. Don't be like Sonny. Let the money stay over there and be saved. But anyway, I don't feel bad about it. That's just a joke. If you need it, child, and you saved it, no matter who account it is in, you have access to it as long as you're going to pay it back. Borrow from yourself when you can. All right, so we have that. We have So now, all we're doing right now is getting organized. So let's look at our calendar here. We have May, right? May's going to start on a Monday. I mean, May, you know, I think I did this wrong because I think I was supposed to put June up here. Yep. Sorry. I put May and I should have put June. Good thing I got a napkin here. My spirit told me to make sure you bring a napkin, child, because you already know how this may go. So we got June, sorry. June starts on a Monday. So I've already started putting my rent over here. You can put lights. And how this is going to look is, so for example, light may be $160. Rent may be, I don't know, $800, right? This is all you're doing. Car may be $300, right? You just writing all that up on this side. And when you get done, you're going to put a total down here of what that equals out to be. So for the month of June, you should already know by the time the first week ends, because they usually send out our bills the end of the month, so we should get them the beginning of the next month. And sometimes we get it in the email these days. So by the end of the first week of June, if not before, we should already know what our bills look like for the month of June. So now all we gotta do is figure out our income. And we can always increase our income depending on what we're willing to do. So say our income, we can just add this one up. 8, 11, 12, 60. So we have, say for example, these are our only 3 bills, and it equals out to be $12.60 for the month. Now what I want to go back and do, I want to circle my payday. Say I get paid on the 4th, the 18th, and I also go into the next month on this one because I want to know when I get my next check too, which is the 2nd of July. So I get paid on the 4th, 18th, and the 2nd. Say I get paid $800 every 2 weeks. So I got $1,600. So I have $460 left for the month. So I added up my bills. They came out to be $12.60, which is backward for you. Sorry, guys. I circled my paydays. I put the amount that I'm going to get paid. I'm just going to say I get paid $800 every 2 weeks. I get paid here too, but that's just something for me to know that I don't have to use this paycheck to pay rent because I get another one on the 2nd. So I can use all the money I make in June for June, unless I need it. Unless you made less and you got to do what you got to do. But for this particular scenario, I made enough money for the month of June, and I have $460 left over. Now, what is that going to go toward? I got grocery bill, I got gas bill, baby may need some shoes, that kind of stuff. Now you get the budget in what needs to be done. I keep a running list of what needs to be done in the household. Don't know when it's going to get done, but I keep a running list. So my baby, I know that I'm watching him, right? I know that shirt get a little bit too small, or I saw a hole in his sock, whatever the case may be, right? So I'm going to write down he needs socks. So June might be the month. I got $460 left over. June might be the month that he gets some socks. You see what I'm saying? I don't have to be guessing about when I can get these things done. Now I know. Or say for example, I had more bill than I had money. There's no need for me to worry about socks. You don't have enough money to keep the lights on. And I don't need to worry about that. boys, girls, children like to walk around barefoot anyway. Let them have it. So then you kind of can gauge that kind of stuff. And then when that person call you up and they like, you know, can you go out to eat? You haven't been out to eat in 3 months because you've been budgeting, right? But now you get to June, you got $460. Maybe you can take 20 of that and go and, you know, have a meal. I'm gonna tell you this right here too, that I'm learning. When I go out to eat, I don't have to have a full course meal. For me now, it's, especially being quarantined, now I just want to see you and talk to you, give you a hug, see how you doing, have a drink. I don't have to sit down and spend $30 on a meal. We've been grocery shopping, right? I know everybody been grocery shopping more than usual. Everybody probably been cooking more than usual. So the thing about it now becomes, keep on doing that. Eat before you go. You just paid money for that food. Eat it before you go. When you get there, order you something to eat so you know, not a sore, you know, sticking out like a sore thumb. But you don't have to have all that. A $10 glass of wine and a $20 meal and, you know, a $10 dessert. Give me a break. I'm talking about me. I'm talking to me. Because I have done it, man. Get in there, yes. I got $400, boo. Yeah, give me that right there. Give me that right there. Give me that right there. Crazy. And knowing that you're going to need that $40, $50 next month. You know what I mean? And I can use that as my savings. That's another thing too. See, we always talk about we can't save, right? But then we at the restaurant spending $40 and $50 on some food. That $40 and $50 could have been our savings. You can sacrifice, and you can say, you know what? I could go spend $50 at the restaurant and you know, all that. Or I could take that $40, $50 and put it in my savings. And that's my savings for the month. You can kind of gauge, you know how you've been living and what you've been doing. And you can say, well, instead of me going out every weekend, that's going to require an outfit, hairdo, pedicure, manicure, money to spend while I'm out, makeup, you know, the whole gamut. You know how we do. Instead of going out every week or every paycheck, let me just go out once a month. You know how much money you would save by doing that? You can sit at your house and play your own music, be your own DJ, get your own cup, pour what you like to pour in it, and sit around and do the same thing you're going to do at a club. Talk to people and drink and listen to music. And you didn't pay anything except for maybe that bottle or a bottle of wine or whatever you decide to drink. You just gotta kind of be creative in that way and sit down. Sat down somewhere. Sat down, and then also you just have to go somewhere. It doesn't have to be to a club. We gotta pay to get in and all that jazz. You can